Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Manipur police commandos laid down their arms as a symbolic protest in response to the abduction of the additional superintendent of police, Moraintham Amit Singh. He was abducted by the militants last evening, and this abduction allegedly was carried out by a Meiti vigilante group whose name is Arambai Tengpol. And this incident happened after 200 attackers stormed the senior officer's residence. We are told that there was indiscriminate firing, property was vandalized, and because of which fresh tension has arisen in Imphal. Manipur police has registered a case under UAPA, and we are told that the officer Amit Singh was rescued within hours. So what is the reason why there is resurgence of fresh tension in Manipur? Why are the things worsening in Manipur as far as the law and order situation is concerned? Joining me now is Professor Xavier Mao, who's the professor from the Nehru University. So thank you so much for joining. We have Suhas Chakma, who's the director of the Rights and Risks Analysis Group. We have Samir Purkaista, who's a senior editor of the Northeast from the Federal. Thank you, Samir, for joining. And we'll go to Professor Mao first. Professor Mao, what is this incident which has happened all of a sudden where people are saying that the officer was allegedly abducted by this Meiti vigilante group? Now, what is the message which this vigilante group, whose name is Arambai Tengpol, what is the kind of message they're wanting to send?
Well, this is not just a sudden happening. A lot of preparation has been going on by the extremist group, particularly the Arambai Tangol, and they are trying their level best to control everybody, including the state government, police, and all the various authorities. And when the various authorities are not going as per their plan, they are threatening them, intimidating them, and even sometimes beating them up. So what is actually happening is that the Arambai Tengol are trying their level best to control, and they are even saying that in a very few days' time or in a few months' time, they will march up to the capital palace, that is Kangla. Kangla is the center of the ancient palace. They want to move there, by which they mean symbolically they want to remove even the so-called present authorities, and they want to take over completely, and they want to control the situation. Unfortunately, that is what has been happening. How far they will succeed, but this is the kind of planning, this is the kind of vision that they have.
Right. Now, let me go to Suhas. Suhas, what is the reason of the resurgence of this Arambai Tengpol? Me and Samir were talking in the morning, and he was giving us a horrendous picture of what is happening because people are scared of this group. It's a vigilante group which is running amok almost, and especially the example of what happened yesterday where they have abducted an officer. He was rescued, though, a few hours later. But why as what Professor Mao said, that this is not a sudden resurgence, but why have they become so active again, and the government cannot control them at all?
The key point is, there is no resurgence. People are active there. When you have access to enormous amount of arms and ammunitions, then obviously you become low unto yourself. So it doesn't matter which faction it is. All armed groups at certain point of time exercise their authority so that they remain relevant. And one particular aspect which you have to bear in mind is that there are no major conflicts between the two communities on a daily basis. But you have already noted, and we have spoken so many times, that around 5,000 to 6,000 arms we are looted, given away by the state police. So entire state armory, has been basically made empty. Then plus 500,000 and 600,000 ammunitions. So once this kind of problems go away, even tomorrow the state is going to suppress a particular group by declaring it and terrorist organization, unlawful organizations. The fact remains there are easy access to arms and ammunition. And it's very easy for certain groups to form vigilante groups. And the day I think the ethnic conflicts between two communities ends, these armed groups will start looting around. That's a feature of any failed state. So, I mean, I don't think it is in any way what's surprising, because if we take the incident where the BJP Congress MLAs accused, I mean, they were beaten up, etc. The CBI had not been able to register the cases with respect to the looting of arms and ammunitions. No investigation has been done, and effectively there is a state government. There may not be killings on a daily basis, but there is a state government. So in a failed state, this is exactly what happens. And I think it's not surprising. Rather, I am surprised that these incidents do not take place more frequently rather than, I mean, once in a while.
Right. But Samir, what is the reason? What is the state government doing? And as far as the relationship between these militant organizations or the armed groups and the state government is concerned, what is the chief minister doing? What is the security apparatus of the state doing when it comes to controlling these armed militants?
See, this outfit initially was formed in 2020, initially as a cultural group. And then with the patronage of political patronage, they have grown in stature. And during when this conflict broke out between Kukis and Meiti, between these two ethnic communities in May 2023, it was alleged that Arambai Tengpol was one of the main perpetrators in this ethnic cleansing. And since then, it has only grown in strength. In January last year, in January this year, they summoned all the Manipur MLAs and even the MPs to Kangla Fort to have an audience with them, and and gave dictate to them, but there was no action against them. It is now becoming as a extrajudicial body, and you will find lots of videos wherein it is seen that they are moving freely on the streets of Imphal with the arms and ammunition. It's like a kind of, if you see those videos, it resembles like Syria and all those, as Subhash was saying, all those failed states. This is again a kind of BJP model. The BJP's double engine model is this, that if you are become a part of the BJP's ecosystem, then you are, you get impunity from all kinds of crimes, be it corruption. If you will find in, several politicians who are accused of corruption, but the moment they go to the BJP, they get protection, they get this thing, shield. So similarly, when you are part of a BJP ecosystem, this kind of crimes there seems to be ignoring. The latest incident was triggered by the arrest of a Arambai Tangol local chief, Sigma area chief, Mr. Robin. He was arrested for snatching a vehicle from a petrol pump. And for for police taking action, you see how they retaliated. So they have become a law unto themselves. So nobody, even the state administrations, are now scared, because it has become grown in strength, and it is said that their terror strength is now around 45,000. I don't know whether this number is actually correct or not. And
But Samir, how many more militia groups are there, like this armed militant group, Arambai Tengpol? But like the Tengpol group, are there other militant organizations which are also very active like them?
I was coming to that. See, recently this one militant outfit called UNLF have surrendered and joined the peace process. But and many say that now Arambai Tengpol and UNLF might have joined hands. But these are, these are some of the information which need to be cross verified. I am not privy to it, but we are hearing this kind of development is taking place. Manipur has several militant groups. And 2020 in Kuki areas alone, there are more than 20 militant groups. In Valley also 10, 15 militant groups. But even the militant groups don't enjoy this kind of impunity that Arambai Tengol is enjoying. There are against the militants, like say regular militants like UNLF, ELA. There are security forces are conducting regular operations and all these things. But this Arambai Tengol somehow the state government seems to have turned a blind eye towards their all kind of their nefarious activities, and this is taking a very serious turn now. And already the Manipur society is divided now. This two ethnic groups have been completely segregated. And if now the further division started taking place within the Meiti society, this is a very serious issue, and it can have a very serious ramification. And the state government should, should immediately take some corrective measures. Otherwise, if this is allowed to continue, and then we don't know where the situation will, where it will spiral. And very soon the Manipur might go to, though there is demand that the election should be postponed. But if election is held under this kind of scenario, then there will be no free and fair elections.
Absolutely. But I'm just wondering, Professor Mao, if you could throw some light on this, that where is the situation really leading Manipur to? We do not know where's the end. It's almost going to be a year on 3rd May. We just have 2 months left. And this Manipur crisis, which unfolded last year, will complete 1 year. We still do not know how long this crisis will continue. And now with these armed vigilante groups resurging and then, going into hiding, then again coming back with these sporadic incidents as what just happened yesterday. Where is this leading the state to? Are we going to see this, see an end to the cycle of violence at all?
Unfortunately, I am afraid that the situation may even go from bad to worse. Even the sporadic incidents of assaults and attacks, even on the Naga people, and now the Naga people have also started preparing themselves for the possible any eventuality. So once the Nagas are drawn in again into the conflict, I do not know whether with the Chin Kuki group or with the Meiti, but so far the Meiti groups have been attacking the Nagas also more than the Chin Kuki group. So if the Nagas are drawn into the conflict, I think the situation will be very, very serious. Because like a palm, they will be surrounded from all sides completely. And it is more than, I think, 4 or 5 months that even the Naga people by the civil society have instructed that all the villagers have to choose their volunteers to prepare for any eventuality. And they have issued even press statements of a warning that if such criminals and the unknown, unidentified miscreants are not arrested and booked them to justice, they will not continue to sit in silence. They may be compelled to take serious action now.
Right.
So, apart from the Arambai Tengol, even within the UNLF, that is the Meiti underground group, there are also different groups. So many of them are there. Some of the other groups, they do not want even to sign ceasefire with the government of India. So among the several such groups, I do not know among them proper understanding is there or not with the Arambai Tengol and Meiti Lipun. but it appears that they have created a lot of pressure to make everybody come to their side so that whatever narrow agenda they have, they want to fulfill that agenda. And if they try to do that, I'm sure it is a very good recipe for complete destructions and turmoil. So that is what I'm afraid. Therefore, in order to countervail against such a plans and such a preparation, I think very serious intervention, even from the central government, is very necessary. And then sane thinking, humane thinking people have also to be actively involved in order to minimize such possible forces from explosion.
Absolutely. And it's a scary picture what you have just described. So, Has, I'm just wondering, Professor Mao was talking about the intervention from the center. We haven't seen any kind of intervention from the Prime Minister or from the Home Minister, except for that brief period where Amit Shah had parked himself at Manipur. After that, do you remember any kind of a serious intervention from the government side? Are we in a position to say that the government can intervene and save the situation? It's almost a year, but it hasn't happened so. And now with these armed militia groups becoming active, and what Professor Mao said, that we are heading towards a complete destruction. So is Prime Minister completely unaware of this? Is Home Minister completely unaware of this? It's very hard to believe.
No, they are completely aware of it. It's just that they are at loss what to do. They have been at loss in the beginning of the conflict, and they are at loss now. And they do not have anybody who could take over the administration apart from Biren Singh. So they are at loss, and their problems is further complicated by the fact that on the other side of the border, in fact, from the northern point where India, China, Myanmar tri-junction to the southern point where Bangladesh, Myanmar tri-junction, there is no government of the junta. And junta remains the only interlocutor of the government of India. So they are completely worried about it. So it's a lost situation for them. And I completely agree with Professor Mao. I think there are two things which I want to mention. One is, I think, the current government of today is not realizing one particular fact that, once you start arming certain groups, at certain point of time, they become Frankenstein monsters. And it was Mrs. Gandhi who had created so many armed groups, starting with the Sikhs, which turned into, Operation Blue Star, etc. And I think if we go and read the report of the, former governor of Nagaland and former commissioner of police, Bedmarwa, the uncivil wars, you could find out how many groups have been created by the government of India at that point of time, and which turned completely violent. And it took decades, 2-3 decades to control them. And one of the groups which we had trained, we had the Bodos, which were trained by the SSBs, and the director of the SSB was Mr. Bedmarwa himself. And now you have created a Frankenstein monster in Manipur, which is completely different from, odd politician who is a corrupt fellow or who is accused of rape and etc. You have created a group which is overtaking the authority of not only the state, also the non-state actors, because today, the traditional armed groups are no longer controlling. So you have a situation where from now on till the elections or till the formation of the government, which the Prime Minister had mentioned in June, so you basically will not have any priority on Manipur. And in the next 4 months, we will just see complete lawlessness in that area, and people are being forced to align themselves. And I think it was 5 days back where the Kuki and the Naga MLS had a meeting because they had a common interest on as being scheduled tribe at this point of time, common interest because they are, jointly affected by the removal of the, FMR free movement regime. If you look at it, I would say the government of India is clueless. They do not know the topography, they do not know the geography, they do not know the people, so they just let it go as it is, but it will have a serious problem.
Right. So both of you are pointing out towards a situation of lawlessness, but I'm wondering, Samir, that, if there are so many Frankenstein monsters, as what we discussed about Arambai Tengpol, and there are several other groups which are armed militants, what happens to the security personnel as well? What happens to their morale? Now, look at the way the police commandos of Manipur yesterday laid down their arms in, as a symbolic protest. So will they not feel demotivated? And is the center or the state government not really concerned that if you have a demotivated security force, what's the kind of impact it's going to have on the entire security of the state?
See, all this police force in Northeast, they have been fighting insurgency for long, and they are very well trained. And they can. The only thing is that they need order from their political bosses. Once they get that order, they are capable of dealing with this kind of group. And Manipur police commandos particularly, they have been fighting insurgency for long. But as you said, when this order doesn't come from the top, obviously it will demoralize them. And yesterday's protest was indication of that. It was this thing outburst of their frustration. Police force going for an armed down strike. It's unprecedented. So if this kind of situations are allowed, you never know. There can be mutiny even in the police force. So that threat is always there. And Subhas was saying that the center is clueless. Yeah, might be, but there can be another hypothesis that this is the kind of model they are trying to develop. BJP is trying to develop. There were allegations in the last assembly elections. They took help of cookie militants to win elections. Now, if we don't know whether election will be held, parliamentary elections will be held in Manipur. But if it is held, and they could take help of the.
But Samir, are you saying that there is a possibility that because of the law and order situation, which has spilled out of hand, there could be a possibility that there are no parliamentary elections in Manipur?
Yes, there is strong possibility of that. Some civil society organizations, strong civil society organizations like Mera Paivis and all, they have also been demanding that this be postponed until the core problem is settled there. So that is quite a possibility.
Right.
And
but is that a call, Samir, is that a call which the center and the election commission together will take, or it's the election commission which will see what the security situation is and they will decide?
They will have to take a call after getting the feedback from the state government about the current law and order situation there. Then they have their intelligence organizations. They will get feedback from the ground from those agencies also. So after evaluating all the feedbacks, they will take a call. But as the situation stands today, there is hardly any chance of free and fair poll.
Right.
So,
but you know, I mean,
and yes, Suhas, you wanted to point?
No, I was just going to interrupt Samir, saying that in worst situations in Jammu and Kashmir, elections were held. There is no intelligence officer who will dare to report that this situation is like that, even if the situation is not conducive for elections. Not holding elections in Manipur would be an acceptance of the fact that the government has not been able to address this situation. So they will not do this. Elections will take place irrespective of whether people vote or not. The only problem might be if they say nobody will be allowed to contest the elections. When the
this kind of dictate,
so that's it. Yeah, that dictate may change.
Like in 1998, Nagahoho had given
yes.
This kind of dictator. So this is quite possible. And apart from that, even if election is held, now the scenario is that say the BJP top leadership from the valleys cannot go and campaign in the hills. The hills leader won't be able to campaign in the valley. So it's a kind of Manipur is now in total chaos. You don't know, like, who is running, who is who, and who is controlling the show in the hills, in cookie areas in the hills. There is a separate admin, like, admin rules of some other groups are this other groups are calling the shot. In Delhi, some other groups. So administration is completely absent. And in this kind of scenario, to hold election will not be easy. The center may impose election on the people of Manipur, but that will be very unfair to hold
Right.
election at this juncture without creating conducive atmosphere for it.
Absolutely. But I'll come back to that question, Professor Mao, to you, and then I'll take the concluding remarks from Suhas. Professor Mao, you had spoken about how Nagas will try and regroup themselves, looking at the way, militant organizations like Arambai Tengpol have been functioning. Now, what happens if the Nagas start regrouping, they start becoming very active? What is the kind of impact which we are going to see not only in Manipur, but in other northeastern states as well?
Well, since sporadic incidents of assaults and attacks have been happening time and again, and some of them have not been even identified or arrested, so Nagas also feel very impatient. Therefore, even within Nagaland state, the Naga organizations have been telling the Nagas of Manipur, why you are sitting for so long silently? Why are you not waking up? That sort of, even in the social media, I begin to see. And then in other states also, people are asking, what about your people? What about the Naga people? What position are you taking? But I am saying, as far as my personal opinion is concerned, I would like that peace should prevail and a lot of patience should be there, and violence had to be at any cost be avoided. And the government should also try to do what they are expected of doing. Otherwise, like the commando, they are very angry. Why? Because the government is not doing as per their expectation. They're not doing as per their duty. And likewise, I would say central government is also sitting completely silently, which is completely wrong. I would say central government should not have been like that. And till today, even from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, not a word has been said on the Manipur situation. This is very, very unfortunate. Mostly our politicians are interested in the seat of power to get elected, and all other things by manipulating the media or trying to give misinformation, and they're least bothered about the general welfare and well-being of the citizen, which is very unfortunate. And if the situation turns from bad to worse, I don't think, as some of our colleagues have mentioned, election may not be even held like the past Assam, Asu during the serious trouble elections were not held. Because the similar thing can be repeated even in Manipur.
Professor Pao, are you saying you are also agreeing in a way with what Samir said, that it may not be conducive to hold the Lok Sabha elections in Manipur? So there is a strong possibility of that happening?
Yeah, that possibility is very much there. Supposing the situation turns worse than what it is prevailing right now, then of course, how even the Chin, Kuki, Mizo group people can participate in the election.
All right. Okay, so I'll come for the concluding remarks now to Suhas. Suhas, where is this all headed to? That's a very repetitive question which we keep asking. We also keep asking in every episode we've done on Manipur that how long will this crisis continue? Do we see the end of this cycle of violence? And we are bored of asking this question actually now. And whenever there is a violent incident, we try and do a show, but we do not know how and where it's going to end. With center not intervening, state government in a complete inertia, where is this all really headed to, and what are we really going to see? Are we going to see the worst times in Manipur now?
Well, I think, unfortunately, if you ask me personally, I do not see central government making any interventions. I do not see the BJP leadership making any directions to the chief ministers. I mean, the incident which took place yesterday for the government, it doesn't actually matter. When you have a state which did not take any action when 5,000 to 6,000 arms were looted, when the central security forces had to show their identity cards to the community surveillance group to pass through. I mean, this is nothing. It's only one of the things which are already happening. And we have the elections coming up. You know, I mean, people dying or people being killed in Manipur is not an issue for the central government. I do not see anything happening till the end of June, no matter what kind of mayhem it may come through. The only time the center may intervene if there is a diktat issued saying that nobody should be allowed to fill up the nomination forms and etc. Then if people are scared to fill up the forms, etc., then center may be forced to do or take some actions. If there is no such measures, I mean, this life will continue as it is. We will be outraged as ever, but I don't think it's something which matters to the government of India.
I feel very sad and depressed, honestly, when we hear statements like these about Manipur, and you have such an insensitive government at the center, which is just not ready to hear the voices of Manipur. What else can one say than just saying that it's unfortunate, it's unbelievable, the attitude of the center and the state government. We'll have to end the program here. Thank you so much, Professor Mao, Suhas, and Samir. It was wonderful having you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.